Well, good evening, all. Ira Epstein with your financial market update, and this update is for Sunday, the 1st of March, 2026. I wanted to let the markets get going a little bit. It's actually a little later than 5:03. It's around 5:10 in the evening right now, Central Time. You're going to have two reports in the morning, but they'll be overshadowed in large part by what happens in tonight's trade because of the war with Iran, and I'll get to that in a moment. The S&P final February manufacturing PMI will come out at 8:45, and we'll get the ISM manufacturing February report at 9 in the morning. They're looking for 52 versus a 52.6 number. But obviously the big deal is the war with Iran, and I want to repeat. I called it for you on Thursday here, and I stuck my neck out and I said, once you saw that Witkoff got up from the table in the middle of a heated negotiation with Iran to deal with an issue he was having with Ukraine, that to me was it. I mean, it was subtle as can be. It's like rolling your eyes. Why are we listening to this BS? And he left, and then he came back, and of course the meeting ended shortly thereafter. And everything the Iranian foreign minister said was simply never going to happen. These people live in fantasy land. They believe they have the right to the nuclear weapon so they can attack the rest of the world. They don't. They're a terrorist organization, the government. They are. The world knows it. So why would you let them have that? They're not going to deal with their missiles, so they can deplete them all now and defending themselves. That'll take care of that, plus the U.S. wiping out the factories with Israel and everything they can do. Their funding of the surrogates, well, I don't know how you ever stop that if they stay in power. That part is the hardest one. As for the heads of all the different departments, including the Ayatollah himself, Israel made short order of that in a surprise move that movies will be written about and filmed. I can't wait to see them over time. But the Iranians, with their arrogance, said, well, they don't attack during the day. They only attack at night. So they called a meeting at the Ayatollah's compound. And they all gathered there, and the bunker bombs went from Israel, and game over. Everybody taken out that's there. I think there were 11 heads of government with the Ayatollah. There'll be new ones to replace them. They'll be just as hardcore, and they'll be on the list to remove as well. The intelligence that is there is unbelievable. I can't even imagine this with what they did in June with the intelligence that Israel must have in the CIA. And to know all these things and to be able to do it is a feat that I'm telling you, it'll be books and movies because it is so compelling and it's happening right in front of you. And if you think that the U.S. is ready to talk, as the foreign minister today said on numerous TV shows when he was interviewed, there's zero chance. The pain's not enough. They have to get it to the point where it's basically unconditional. The number two thing might be the overthrow or the stepping down of the government open to the elections. And if you can't do that, you got to keep the war going until the people feel they're compelled to go to the streets and they won't be mowed down by the guard, the Revolutionary Guard there, as they were last time with 30,000 people. So it's too soon for the people in cities like Tehran to go to the street. In smaller cities, it's probably happening. And I think that's what you take with the grain of salt. The Strait of Hormuz is for all purposes closed at this point in time. I'm sure it'll be mined. We've taken out, reportedly in the news, 5 of their big ships, but that's really not what they go after. They have these fast little ships that they use to attack. And again, those are the things that got to be taken out. We haven't yet seen the Houthis do anything about anything at this point in time, other than say they stand with Iran. But with the naval forces that are built up there, as large as they are, this is the size of the force that was for Iraq in 2003. They're probably going to be quiet for a while, and they're probably going to see what plays out. They don't want to be completely annihilated, and I'm not sure we can annihilate them either. We did okay last time, but I wouldn't say we annihilated them. So that's where you're at, and time needs to play out. The goal is in part to get the people to overthrow the government. It's too soon for that in a big city like Tehran because they can't take to the street. So you've got to eliminate as best as you can with targets to do that. Do I know anything about military? No, but I read and I watch like a madman, as you all know. So I'm giving you what I've read and what I'm seeing. I am certainly not a military expert. So how's the market responding? Well, as we can see, the first thing is you have a market that is coming down in all the stock markets. You have the gold up $117. This is 30 off the high. It almost got to 5,400 an ounce. Silver's back up into the near $100 an ounce range. Copper should not go on this move, and I don't think platinum. As for the dollar, I expect a rally, but I don't see why it should soar in any manner, way, shape, or form. And that's pretty much what's happening. On the energy market, you're going to get overdone on the upside, but there's a lot of upside that can go here. The market could get up to $90 to $100 a barrel in Brent. Why not? It depends how long the Strait is closed. We saw that over the weekend, OPEC went and raised 206 million barrels of additional oil a day that can be pumped. The problem is most of OPEC is pumped out. Only the Saudis can do the initial other amount. Other countries can do some, but probably not that amount. I don't see where natural gas has a lot to run, but do remember, the UAE does a lot of natural gas and uses the Strait, and now it's a problem for everybody. So things you got to take into account, but it is not the time to panic. It's also not the time to go chasing a big break in the stock market. Look for example, it's what's happening in bonds and notes. It's just like a normal opening in them. They're not even responding. So when we take a look at the mini S&P 500, as you can see, you're backing off a little bit. You're down nearly a percentage point as we're on the first session of trading for the month. When we come to the weekly chart, it's identical. They're both at the beginning time. And notice you're under the 18-week moving average of closes. So even though we came down right here to 68.50 as a low, and that was under the 68.59, the market did snap back. So this is causing a new break low in the market. When we come to the daily charts, though, nothing's falling apart. I think you'd expect this type of break in the market. And when you look at the swing line, don't even count today. You have lower highs, lower lows. Do you? Well, this low on that was made by Thursday and Friday right here ended up being a higher low. So the reality is you don't have that. You have the legacy of the lower highs, but you're not in the pattern of lower highs and lower lows, and unless and until you get under 67.91. And you're at 68.11 and a quarter is the low right now. We'll see what it does. When we take a look at how the market's acting in Bollinger Bands, if you take out the 67.91, a potential next support is the lower Bollinger Band right here at 66.81. And in terms of stochastics, they're nowhere near oversold. They just rolled over and they took you out of long positions. That's the argument I have through all this. They are sitting and they're trying to get under the 18-week average of closes and staying down. Then we come to the Dow Jones, which has just fallen back to the 18-week average. It too had lost its bullish reading when you lost the embedded slow stochastic right here. That was lost on Friday. And now the market's down lower. And the objective was, when you did that, to get to the 18-week average because that's the lowest low. When we look at the NASDAQ, you've had trouble even getting over the 18-week average of closes, and that's because of the meltdown in AI stocks. This is heavily a software, the chips, everything you can imagine, and they have been out of favor. Is it going to offer enough to get a final washout? It's not acting like it in early trade. The Russell is still, on a weekly chart, the strongest of the group, as it's over the 18-week average. Now, the last break low in the market on a weekly basis was 25.6680. You have not taken that out. You're 30 points away from it. You lost the bullish embedded reading. So in reality, the way that I look at the market, when you lose that reading like you did right here, and first off, I can remove this. All right, that's, hold on. Let me see if I can remove that. Yeah, so that you don't look at it twice. When you lost that, the goal should be to get to the 18-week average. It doesn't have to do it on a weekly chart, but often you make a run towards it. The daily charts are the high percentage when that happens. And then I go to the DAX. So in the DAX, on Friday, you finished up with the market coming back up. We'll see how the European stocks do as they get themselves rolling tonight with everything. But war is generally not bullish initially, the marketplace. After a while, it is. And that's because your munitions companies have to make a lot more munitions. It's expensive. Things have to be rebuilt. And that's where you're at in this. I also heard over the weekend, if you read it, that supposedly Zelensky is saying that Putin has accepted terms of a deal. I'm not hearing a word. I read everywhere over the weekend. I've not seen a word from Russia. I don't understand how that could be because last time I knew, Putin wanted the rest of Donetsk and he didn't get it. And Ukraine cannot just give it up. There has to be a vote by the people. I don't know what's going on there, but as long as there's smoke, there'll be fire. And by that, I mean maybe we're getting closer to the end of all that there. As you can see in the 30-year bond, would I tell you to buy over an upper Bollinger Band, even with war? No, I would not. That's generally the zone the pros start taking money off the table. In the 10-year, it's the same thing. The market's gone up. It has war. It's overbought. This is probably where the pros are stepping out of the market, taking what they have and saying, thank you, but I think I'll step back. In the dollar index, you can see how the market's coming up. The last, right through here, this last high was 98.01.5. You have not taken it out, even with this going on. So it'll be interesting. But do I expect to wake up in the morning and see the dollar really rallying strong? I doubt it. I don't know what'll happen, but I doubt it. In the eurocurrency, we continue to break down, and actually you can now move this so it looks like that. Got it? And you've got lower highs, lower lows. You might be headed to the 117.24 area, but because the marketplace is over the 18-week average, I teach that you don't think the short side of the market. Canadian dollar, same thing. So we're getting a little bit of a break. I expected the Canadian, and I said it to you last week, to have troubles between the 18-week, the upper Bollinger Band and the 200-week average, and that's just what has happened. Now, as we take a look at the Japanese yen, you have a market with higher highs, but what about higher lows? Now, this high in the market was 65.83. This is 65.70. So the pattern is lower high, higher low, and that doesn't put you into anything. In Bitcoin, the market is not responding positively, hasn't. It's more tied, for whatever reason, to the NASDAQ than it is to the gold market, not offering much protection there. In Brent, as you can see, you're sitting here up rather sharply. The difference between Brent and WTI, this is a differential chart. In Brent itself, you're up to the 200-week average. What do you think I'd be telling you? You're not embedded. War, no war, this is where you got to cut your position down. If you want to play that it can go further, that's fine, but remember, that's what I'm expecting. As we get into WTI, you can't even make it to the 200-week so far. As we come to the unleaded gasoline, you're getting a continued rally. That's got to be on the president's mind because he bragged about it so much in the State of the Union. So you put it all together, and that's where I think you're at. In other words, as much as you're down in the stock market, up in the metals, I would be taming what you want to do with that. And I wouldn't sell into the drop, and I wouldn't buy into the rally. I'd be very careful. I'm Ira. You have yourselves a great weekend. And remember, if you want my comments, as I said, I wrote a market letter. Go to our website at iraepstein.com. You can sign up for the research by going to the research section, and that'll take care of you. I'm Ira. Have yourselves a great evening.